Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. And there you go. There's a Seraphim base for you, for all of those out there who think that Seraphim have been done out of their rightful opportunity to have a base at the splash screen. There we go. There's one for you. It's actually a bit of a cheat. Those of you who've been with me for a while now will remember I did use this as the kind of grand final thing for the Rise of the Immortals trophy. And I've recycled it, working out that it could actually work in this instance. But I've had a few people actually ask if I minded if they could give it a crack and send me in some little videos of splash screens. I don't mind if you want to have a go at that, guys. Feel free. I do ask that it's in high def, 1920 by 1080 or whatever the resolution is. That is the kind of thing we want. So if you want to submit it to me in that format, if you want to have a pop, we'll all get along famously. Today's game is going to be a custom 3v3. I promised you some team action, and I shall not fail you. I'm going to deliver. It's going to take place on Roanoke's Abyss. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Love me some Roanoke's. We'll call this Team 1 up here at the top and this Team 2 down here. And haven't got any overlays for you today. I mentioned the other day that I was waiting to get software installed and everything so I could start producing them, and a bunch of you said we're not that bothered, not that keen on the overlays. So we'll try it for a bit without, see if you guys miss them or don't, and if you don't miss them, well, I probably won't bring them back. That'll save me a little bit of time anyway, so it's all gravy. We'll look at Team 1 first of all. Over here on the left hand side, going Ferrari Red Seraphim, it's Untouchables. He's opening first land. To his right up here at the 12 o'clock position, secondly for Team 1, it's Armageddon. He's back from whatever holiday he's taken for the last 6 months. I literally haven't seen much of this guy, and suddenly, while I've been away, he's been popping up all over the place, so great to have him back. Anyway, he's going his customary Seraphim, and I'm sorry to say his customary Fecal Brown, and opening first land as well. To his right, lastly, but never least for Team 1, it's RA's Zlo, also going Seraphim in lurid green, opening first land. So that's Team 1. To his south down here for Team 2 in Regal Purple, also going Seraphim. It's BC's Tiep opening first land, second air. To his left, secondly for Team 2 down here in Electric Blue, also going Seraphim. It's RA's Petric Pawns opening first land, second air. And last but never least, also going Seraphim, which is unreal, BCOP Please Nerf, otherwise known as BC Jolly, going first land, second air. So it's a sextuple mirror match. That's fun for two reasons. Firstly, I don't think I've ever seen a 6-player mirror match, and secondly, it's got the word sex in the title, which is always nice. But anyway, on to the game as we focus on more important things, entering that period of time of expansion where engineers start to split and go their separate ways. Take a look at what everybody's doing. BCTEP getting air online there and immediately starting work on a scout. Goes flying off to directly up towards RA's low. That's going to be his mirror on this map. That's going to be the guy he's primarily concerned with. We've got one very lonely Zooey heading south from Untouchables, but could potentially make life a little bit difficult for that engineer right on the corner. A couple of scout planes out for the other two members, in fact, for Team 2. RA's going straight over to have a look at what Armageddon's doing. Likewise, BC Jolly, or known for the purposes of this game, BCOP, checking out Untouchables. Team 2 committing a little bit more heavily to naval play. You can see we've got Naval Factory constructed there for Zlo, one in play for Untouchables. Armageddon not constructing one yet, but I can't see any in construction or under construction at all for Team 2, so they're completely avoiding it. What are they doing? We've got an upgrade going on the comm down here for BCOP. What are they working at? That's the question. We've got another upgrade over here for Tiep. This one's actually nearly done. Timing on that can't be completely coincidental. Frigate starting to make contact here from Zlo. Starting to pick off exposed mass points around the edge of Tiep's island. But there's definitely some kind of coordinating strategy going on here between these two. Take a look at what they've got. So we've got a T2 engineering suite there for BCOP. And another T2 engineering suite for TIEP. It wouldn't be completely out of the range of realm possibility that would just be an opening strat, but for both of them to go at the same time, that is purely conspicuous. And now we've got a transport on the scene going for TIEP. Where is he going for? He needs to be careful. He's taking a lot of fire from these frigates. Zlo will realize that commander is on the move now, and the waypoint is set straight for R.A. Zlo's main island. So it looks like TIEP going to thoroughly disrespect Zoe's personal space by landing his upgraded comm in the base. And there he goes, and he immediately starts construction of a bunch of T1 PD. And we've got exactly the same thing happening over here between BCOP going for Untouchables. So we're going to have to keep track of these two fronts independently. BCOP touches down, a little bit behind BCTF, but the timing is pretty good between these two. Where is Untouchable's comm? He's still well in the water over here. That's not going to help his cause at all. One T1 PD operational there for BCOP, and now he's starting to work on a T2 PD. BCTF sticking with the mass T1 format, and he's already got 5 online, starting another one there. Zlo trying to counter with one of his own, but losing a mechs in the process. BCOP finally finishes construction of a T2 PD. How is Untouchables responding? He's going for an upgrade himself. He's going to be well behind the bell curve on this one, so this is looking like a very strong opening from Team 2, making life incredibly difficult. Untouchables calling for more energy from his teammates. BCTF just stomping his way through R.A. Zlo's base, who's lost his 2 main core factories, both the T1 and land and air, the 2 that he started with, the 2 that he opened with, and BCOP capturing that spare factory for Untouchables, adding to Untouchables' woe. He's completed an upgrade. Looks like he's going for another one now. And then, as soon as I said, of course, he cams it. I can see a gun on there, so he's not trying to counter with tech. He's instead just going to try and out-blap BCOP. But the trouble is there are now 2 T2 PDs on here, as well as an operational factory that's starting to spew out Zuis. You can see the effect that's already happening on Untouchables. 5,000 hit points and falling. You can think about moving, but it's not going to help him too much, and well into the red, hit points just evaporating. He's not going to get out of this one. 9 minutes gone, and Untouchables bites the dust. Meanwhile, BCTF continuing to have success over here on the other island. Zlo faring a little better than his comrade on the other side of the map, though. He's got around 7,800 hit points on the clock, but nonetheless his base is in tatters. And as all of Untouchable's stuff goes pop there on the left, BCOP gains an extra starting island. That's going to be invaluable long term, assuming he can hold on to it, of course. And all the while this is going on, his main island and BCTF's island are looking pretty healthy. Tiep continues to stick with his assault on Zlo's island. He doesn't obviously feel like he wants to be bugging out any time soon. But there's a lot of naval units on the field over here for Zlo. So Tiep wants to be really careful he doesn't get cornered here. He could still offer up the chance for Team 1 to even this by bagging his comm kill. Needs to be real careful. He hasn't got any other units on the ground, or sorry, in the sea coming to assist. Not really. He has got a transport hovering overhead, however. And in the same vein, we've also got a very highly damaged transport picking up BCOP and transporting him across the map. So it looks like he's coming to his teammates' aid on that one. Transport waiting overhead, probably wants to think twice about that. Armageddon's got quite the bunch of inties in the sky, and this is really dangerous. If Armageddon can get a read on this, that transport's already heavily damaged, just 355 hit points left on that puppy. A couple of inties could ruin his day for sure. So he needs to keep his berth wide of this island. Gets in too close, it will get spotted. BCTF still faring okay, but looking increasingly isolated on this island. Slow with slightly more HP. Well, actually, no, there's not a lot in it. BCTF with more hit points, of course, because of that T2 upgrade. BCOP touches down, meanwhile, and begins construction of some T1 torpedo launchers, and that's really important because that could provide a safe haven for Tiep to retreat to, and he's going to need it because as he moves into the water, he's now facing Suissels, the T1 submarines for Seraphim. Petric Pawns has also joined up here, so we've got all three ACUs for Team 2 in this area now, but BCTF dropping down into the red, just 3,500 hit points left on the clock. He needs to back up and get as close as possible to all of these torpedo launchers, but Zlo has realized what's going on. He's got his frigates involved and starting to pummel these torpedo launchers that BCOP and Petric are trying to throw together to offer Tiep some cover. Now we've got some Zuis turning up as well. Down goes that torpedo launcher, but he's a bit low on subs. He's only got one back here. BCTF 2,100 hit points. He's bringing in a transport. This could be risky. Zlo will be well aware of what's going on, but he hasn't got any interceptors of his own, and Armageddons, what he's got, are preoccupied over on this side of the map trying to contend with the expansion of BCOP, and it looks like Tiep going to get out of there and get back to base. Slow exclaims his displeasure in local. Keep an eye on that to make sure he doesn't get picked off at the last moment. BCOP meanwhile, what? A BCTF just explodes on landing. That is unreal. Not quite leveling the game. I'm not sure what happened there. And it doesn't look like anybody else in the game seems to know what happened there either. He could have potentially landed awkwardly. There is a hill there on that island. That's actually unreal. Untouchable's asking how on earth did that happen. I think we'd all like to know. But Team 2 now need to be extra specially careful. They've got two ACUs far away from home. Armageddon coming in with some torpedo bombers there to make life difficult. BCOP and Petric pushing their way towards this central side island here in the middle. Tiep saying he thinks it's a bug. You can't drop on anything with a wriggly surface. I mean, I have seen that before, to be honest. I think you can drop on a wriggly surface, but you take damage, and obviously he didn't have a lot of damage to take. His hit points were incredibly low, and it's just enough to it's like the worst thing in the world. You go home and you explain to your general what happened. Well, we were winning, and then Tiep landed on a hill. Not go down too well, but I think they're still ahead. I don't think there's any danger of them losing this one. We've got BCOP sitting on two islands. He's got T2 Navy, although Armageddon looking like he wants to make life difficult. He's got a Zui drop lined up here, going to go for this expansion, and just taking down that cruiser in the middle with some frigates there. He has managed to get T2 Navy himself as well. As long as Zlo can stay in this one, he should be in for a decent match. Zlo pretty low on health though, 2,600 HP in the tank. And at least he's got, I want to say, control of the seas, the local seas around here, but he's not in any major danger. But ducking in and out of the water is certainly a risky strategy. He's got to be concerned, I suppose, about this T1 torpedo launcher. He's coming in with more subs, and it's a war between the subs and the reclaim power on R.A. Zlo's ACU there, and the repairing power of Petric Pawns. And Now the odd torpedo bomber coming in from Petrick as well. Thankfully, Armageddon turns up not before time with some cruisers. It's going to add to the anti-air capabilities in the area. I think Zlo really just should be getting his comm out of there. 500 hit points left on Zlo's comm. Needs to be incredibly careful, popping in and out of the water, trying not to give those torpedo bombers a look in. And we've got two comms sitting on this island, one of which at T2. Need to be exceedingly careful. Zlo heads for the northern shore. Any more torpedo bombers around? That's the question. We've got a bunch down here for Petrick. He's going to be looking for an angle of attack. Armageddon trying to screen them. Not let them anywhere near Zlo if he can manage it. He's locked onto them now. But takes a very wide angle as they turn back in and head straight for Zlo. That could be enough firepower to do it. They pass overhead over a cruiser, which pops them out of the air. I don't think they got any torpedoes away, but Zlo looking incredibly peaky. But Petrick diving into the water and now taking quite a lot of subfire from Zlo's forces there. Zlo gets back onto land again. And BCOP also in the water. This incredibly cagey period of play from both these teams. Zlo stuck on virtually nothing. Petrick and BCOP in a similar situation. Petrick down well into the red now. Nice overcharge there. Will they be about to hand back the advantage to Team 1? And finally, BCOP turns up with some naval forces of his own. 3 destroyers, which is actually an incredibly large amount of naval power compared to what else is facing off against them on the map at the moment. 1,400 hit points left there for Petrick. R.A. Zlo, 1,400 as well. Needs to be real careful though as they all target Zlo and they open up and he bites the dust. 18 minutes gone. And Zlo ejected from the game, leaving just Armageddon, who needs to pick up this kill if he wants to stay in this game. He's facing 2v1 now. Sue Whistle from Zlo still doing what he can. But that's soon going to go pop when Zlo's forces go up in flames, but just has enough to knock out Petrick. Extraordinary passage of play there from these two teams, so that evens things up. We haven't talked about eco at all. Of course, BCOP going to have a significant advantage over Armageddon in eco, having the second island now. But look at that, it was 102 and 123 versus 73 and, well, around 17. So Team 1 have done an extraordinary job to stay in this one. Armageddon needs to expand and expand fast, and he knows it. He's got engineers en route to Zlo's old island. Zui's incoming. Going to meet a bunch of BCOP's Ioshevas and one single Zui in the middle there. Should be able to tear through that without any major difficulties. Question is, where is Armageddon's ACU? It's over here in pretty safe territory as he queues up an outrageous amount of naval yard spam. You'll see just how good Armageddon is when it comes to expansion and eco. See if he can claw his way back in front on this one. He gets cruisers into range. That's actually T2 Land Factory HQ, so that will be a little bit of a drawback there for BCOP to lose that to that cruiser. Targets of priority definitely should be these two T2 power gens. However, forces pushing out now from BCOP, forcing armor to retreat slightly. And BCOP has backed up onto that bottom right-hand island just in time to see Armageddon fly overhead with some engineers. Immediately he starts to reclaim them. Armageddon recognizes the danger and moves them out, managing to save 2 out of that, which is quite interesting, but he's not going to be able to bag a win there, not with the ACU and a working factory in play. And now he's going to face a pretty concerted push from BCOP in the form of 4 destroyers, and he's lacking on the direct fire naval power. He's got a bunch of Zoos on the ground, but as long as BCOP micros them correctly, should be able to avoid all of the dangers. And it's a good time for an attack as well, because Armageddon has made the transition to T3 Navy. Doesn't want to be hit by any of those sub-hunters, one of which looks like it's under construction as we speak. And already 60% done. I think he's going to need more than one to push his way out of this one. BCOP needs to be focusing on the engineers, I think. Whoa! Out of nowhere! The amount of torpedoes on those destroyers getting the job done. Armageddon taking too much fire, doesn't make it back onto land, and even if he had done, he wouldn't have made it out of range from those destroyers. So very nicely done there from BCOP, picking up the kill. Short game too for a 3v3 on Roanoke's, 24 minutes. Hope you enjoyed it though all the same, guys. Some pretty inventive play. Love my comm drops, as you know. More comm drops please, guys. More T2 drop my super important win all, lose all unit in your face and start building bases in your bases. We like that kind of stuff. Anyway, as I say, hope you enjoyed it, guys. More to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle signing out.